Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Fantasy and Frames Mocking After Dark, where we are getting you ready for your upcoming rookie drafts. We are drafting today a Superflex tight and premium league. So we are going to go through 4 rounds of draft picks. With me tonight is Jorge Edwards, what you can find at Jorge B. Edwards on Twitter, and Gator J, what you can find at FantasyJ77 on the Bird app. How's it going, Jorge?
Man, it's great to be on one of these shows. You and Gator have been killing it the past few episodes, and I figure, man, I got to get on one of these. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, we are excited to have you on. Jay, are you ready to mock?
Man, I am ready. I'm excited to have Jorge on here for the simple fact of having the boss man around. He can actually interact with us and enjoy what we do as he's relaxing watching us on the big screen. Now he's actually on screen.
Yes, sir. Well, so we got to talk nice about all of his picks, all right?
Nope.
No talking trash.
Nope.
So
if he takes Anthony Richardson 101 tonight,
then we can start. Yeah, no, but so I'm glad you brought that up, because last week it was almost like a lesson in that mock draft. I think it was like 2 or 3 that I forget. Yeah. Where I took Richardson 1, and then we went down the list of the players that were being picked at the 1 spot, and I think that was a great learning lesson for those who haven't watched it. Go back and watch it. Just understand what your spot in the draft represents.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said it yourself, Gator. If you're at the 1 spot, you want those game-changing, deciding players who are going to, without a doubt, be the ones that are going to bolster your team to fantasy success, not developmental projects you want to work with years down the road.
Absolutely.
Agreed. Before we start this thing off, make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the channel. We are trying to hit that 400 subscriber mark. We are right around the corner. Jay, let's fire up this engine.
Let's go. That puts Jorge on the clock.
Bijan. That was quick trigger finger.
I'm ready to go, man.
I love it. Jimmy, is there anyone else other than Bijan Robinson or Anthony Richardson that you would consider at the 101, or is that's it? That's the chalk right there. It's one or the other.
Listen, I think it's Bijan 101, period, the end. At this point, I don't think it matters the format. But Jorge is the one that last episode decided to take Anthony Richardson 101.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I know we're in a super flex, so Jorge, explain your thought process last week. I know you started to, but please explain it now.
Sure. So again, Superflex was one of the big considerations right there. Another one, got Jamie Perog here on YouTube saying Roshan 101. The Roshan truthers in the house, folks. Look, so my thought process was this. If I'm going to take a quarterback at the 101 in a Superflex for rookie drafts this year, I want to make sure this person is going to be right out the gate, starting, playing, performing well, in a great situation with great skill players around him, with a great offensive mind, calling the shots on the field. And Anthony Richardson and this Colts offense just fits that 100% to the T. Would I take a Bryce Young? No. At the 101. Would I take, a Levis? No. The only quarterback for me at the 101 that made sense, just because he seems like, from all the reports you're hearing out there, slated to be the week 1 starter. You see all the reports out of rookie camps. Everybody is just super impressed with how he's playing and how he's throwing the ball. Josh Downs, I saw the other day, was saying how impressed he was with Anthony Richardson. So, if you're going to do it, if you're going to pass on Bijan and you're going super flex, it's Anthony Richardson or Bijan, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love it. Josh Downs was actually catching balls from Anthony Richardson in the parking lot for about half an hour before the day before rookie camp started. So that connection's going to be there. Josh Downs is one of those guys. Oh, Gator J with the Jackson Smith and the Jigma pick at 103, right on brand.
Did you think that I'm not going to stay on brand, my brand? Jackson Smith and the Jigma should be taking over. Jorge. I mean, Jackson Smith and the Jigma should be taking over. Jorge, over Bryce Young, over CJ Stroud. And
Yeah.
I don't care what format it is. That's just my opinion. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, he's going to produce more than either one of those two quarterbacks.
Love to see it. JSN at the 103, followed by Bryce Young. I thought, man, I love that JSN pick there at the 1-3, right before the two QBs. You made that short about him as well.
Yes.
If you go on the Fantasy and Frames YouTube channel, you'll see what I'm talking about. But Gator loves him some Jackson Smith and the Jigba.
It's not so much that I love JSN. I just love him more than I love Bryce Young or CJ Stroud because of their landing spot.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And I think it's another thing, people may come back to you and Gator said that's a very redraft centric pick versus a dynasty pick. Like it's a very short-term pick versus a long-term pick. For me, I look at JSN, it's both really. Like Lockett's getting up there in age. How many years is he going to be left on the team? DK Metcalf is their wide receiver 1, but JSN is not somebody who's a 2. He's a 1B to Metcalf's 1A. Yeah. I feel like with this offense, as long as this offense doesn't undergo any crazy regime changes or offensive coordinator changes in Seattle, this offense is going to be clicking for a long time. And here's the thing: the Seahawks did it right. They drafted all the best players available at the skill positions they needed. So for a Seahawks fan from a football perspective, you're like, yes, if one goes down, one steps right in to take its place. And you have to think, even though we're talking fantasy and we're talking about divided targets, we're talking about divided opportunities and how can that bump people down in value. You have to remember these coaches get paid to scheme up how to get their playmakers in the right position to make plays. So you would have to think that I think they'll figure out a way to make JSN work with Lockett and DK Metcalf.
Well, that's the other side of the coin too, Chris. I know you're on the clock here, so you got a pick coming up. But the other thing, and I said this in the short, with Tyler Lockett right now is currently the 2 there, and he should be. He's deserved that 2 spot, but he's coming up on his age 31 season. He's got an out after this year. JSN is primed to actually step into this role as the 2 there in Seattle. And like I said, 4,000 yards passing for Geno Smith with only Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Now he's got a third wide receiver. We saw Joe Burrow what he could do with a third wide receiver in Boyd, right? So give me the opportunity share that JSN's going to have over the Bryce Young, with no wide receivers right now in Carolina, and then CJ Stroud with no offensive line right now in Carolina.
Yeah.
So there's my thought process on why JSN should be over Bryce Young, over CJ Stroud. Maybe in 5 years, 6 years down the road, absolutely you'll see that level off.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, JSN, in my opinion, is going to produce more than what CJ Stroud or Bryce Young can do in the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, love the pick. Followed by Stroud at the 1-5. We had Jordan Addison at the 1-6. 1-7, Jahmyr Gibbs. Dalton Kincaid, first tight end off the board at 1-8. Quentin Johnston, Los Angeles Chargers at the 1-9. With my pick at the 1-10, I went Zay Flowers. Josh Downs is a player that's been skyrocketing up draft boards, but he was picked at the 1-11. This is the first time I've seen him really go anywhere before the 2-1. Zach Charbonnet, the other Seattle running back there at the 1-12. Jorge on the clock at 1-1. What are you thinking, Jorge?
So I am a firm believer in this player. I think he's, again, the type of player that jumps into a 1A, 1B situation. And it may be a little bit early for some, given the other positions on the board, given the fact there's still a couple quarterbacks on the board you could take. But in terms of skill positions, I'm rolling with Tank Bigsby. I just like his situation in Jacksonville. I think he's going to be the better north-south runner, the goal line back. Give me those easy touchdowns, within the 5-yard line. This Jacksonville Jaguars offense is going to be ridiculous. Not just for this season. That's with a Calvin Ridley who's been out of the league for a year. Imagine next year. Imagine the year after that. And you're giving me Tank Bigsby to be somebody who could potentially be one of the lead backs in this offense. Sign me up. This is a short term and an intermediate term length of time play for me.
And every single one of those Travis Etienne shares that people have, they're just glaring you in the eye. They're shooting those Superman. They're sending those Superman laser eyes right at you when you say that. It's just ouch, and it hurts my feelings as well.
Yeah, it's tough. Travis Etienne's still going to have a decent role in that offense, but if you're looking at Doug Peterson's past, Tank Bigsby is going to cut into what some of Travis Etienne's going to offer for fantasy managers. So he's definitely a guy that I've been moving down my rankings with the addition of Tank Bigsby. After Bigsby, the computer got it right with Kendre Miller. Sorry.
Yeah,
New Orleans
unfortunately,
Saints
because I was hoping
Did
he
the
was going to
computer
slide
snipe
one
you?
more. Yeah, the computer sniped me. Yep.
And then you went big body tight end Mike Mayer. I love the situation there in Las Vegas. We've seen what the Raiders can do producing those tight ends. Josh McDaniels, we've seen what his history is with the tight ends. Jimmy Garoppolo's been producing fantasy tight ends for some time. So that's a good pick there at the 2-3 as the tight end too, especially in the premium. Yes. There's no other real like big body pass catchers there outside of Devontae Adams. They did get Jacoby Myers, but I like what the Raiders did with Mike Mayer there.
Yeah, I mean, the reason first of all, you take Michael Mayer there, tight end premium, absolutely, that's a hammer for me. But then you look at it, Jimmy G is hyper targets tight ends. We saw it with George Kittle. Michael Mayer looks like he is the real deal. They got rid of Waller, sent him on to New York, so that left an opening there. We all thought the Raiders were going to go defense, and not even think about the offense because, well, Josh McDaniels is an offensive coordinator. So coming from the Pete Carroll or from the Bill Belichick tree, you think about the complete opposite side of the ball coming from that tree, right? You just don't do anything that's on brand for them. And they actually did something on brand this year and went and got a tight end that fits perfectly in that system.
Yeah.
And I think he's not a great blocker, but he's a very good pass catcher. And that fits perfect in that system, in my opinion. So give me all the Michael Mayer I can get. Look, we were looking at him as tight end 1. Just before the draft, and then or just before the combine, and then the combine comes, and then Kincaid jumps up. So yeah, give me Michael Mayer, all of it I can get. Great landing spot for that tight end.
Yeah, love it. 2-4 Devin Achane. He's been dropping quite a bit in these rookie drafts. Jonathan Mingo, the wide receiver drafted by the Carolina Panthers to team up with Bryce Young. Sam Laporta, the tight end 3 at 2-6. Will Levis at 2-7, drafted by Father Dynasty. Father Dynasty in the sleeper chat says he loves getting Levis this late. Jorge, what's the earliest you would draft Will Levis?
I mean, I think for me it would be in the third. I'd rather snatch up all these skill players, to be honest with you. We have to remember here. We say super flex. There's a distinction that needs to be made between super flex and 2 QB. You don't have to take a second quarterback in your super flex spot. If you get somebody who's averaging more than what a QB2 averages, which let's just throw out a number 15.6 points per game. Okay, I know that's a very specific points per game, but
where did you get that number from? I mean,
you ready to go?
I have no idea where that came from, but like as long as my skill player is averaging more points per game than that, I'm going to be happy. So regardless if it's a QB or not.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to remind everybody that's watching on YouTube, if you are enjoying this content, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell that lets you know when we go live or drop any new content. And it is greatly appreciated. We are pushing for that 400 very, 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 very shortly. We'll hit 400, and then we are on the road to that 500 subscriber mark. Chris, go right ahead. I'm sorry.
Nope, you're good. You're good. Want to say something, Jorge?
Yeah, so I'm standing here back at the 301, and I got 2 options that are in front of me. Really 3 options when I really think about it. And so I'm really starting to trying to decide, do I want to go over to the Netherlands, hit up the red light district, and go Hendon Hooker? Or do I want to go to the Windy City and roll with Roshan Johnson, hoping that he supplants Khalil Herbert and Deontay Foreman in a few weeks this season, if not into next year, the following year.
Can I answer this question real quick? Because you got a minute. So here's what I would like you to do. I would like you to go to the red light district only for this reason, because the auto pick next would be Reed, and that would leave me Roshan Johnson.
Right. So yeah, exactly. So that being the case, I said, obviously Superflex, if you're again, this is all built off of team need, right? So if your team needs a quarterback, you're going to go get your quarterback, and you probably would have not waited as long to get your quarterback. Truth be told, I get the Jaron Reed hype. I don't understand it yet. I need to see it. I need to see Jordan Love.
My office.
I need to see Jordan Love do something first. I'm going to go Roshan here.
Sure. Yeah, I like the Roshan.
I love that pick though. Then Jaden Reed comes right off the board right there. So I love the Roshan pick right there.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I don't like is now Jorge has all the damn running backs.
just like in our yeah, exactly. Fantasy and Frames draft.
I mean, it's this right here. That draft that Jorge has right there looks like his 1-2 turn in our Fantasy and Frames draft. It's all green.
Yeah, that was nice. But no, go ahead.
So here, here in that third round, this is where I think we're taking dart throws, right? Or we start to take dart throws. I already know who you have your eye on there at the 310, and I'm not reaching for him at all. But I will $4 million.
He got paid $4 million.
I will reach for this guy, and I will take Jalen Hyatt right here.
Yeah,
and the reason, because again, I saw the video yet again of him talking to the Dallas coaches, and he's like, "You're a one. You know what you are." And he's like, "What am I?" He goes, basically, you can do one thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can run routes too. And he goes out there on the field and does it. And I was truly impressed by just that video alone. I think Jalen Hyatt can actually do something in the league.
It's
but
possible.
At 3-3, I'm okay taking that shot.
Yeah. Based on who else was around him there, I love the Jalen Hyatt pick. I'm okay with taking Jalen Hyatt back in too, just because he does have that ability for those boom plays. And if you're playing any kind of best ball, if you're putting Jalen Hyatt in to cover bye weeks, he's a guy that you're going to put into your flex spot possibly and have a good opportunity based on schedule as well. If you can match him up on a good schedule, I mean, he's going to be burning the other Diggs there in Dallas 2 times a year. So if you can match him up with that, Trayvon Diggs, I mean, he's got the good opportunity to put up some big numbers, and Daniel Jones can get the ball downfield. So I like the Jalen Hyatt pick there, especially in the third.
Jamie is over here just roasting me. Just roasting me in the chat.
I guess my only concern with Jalen Hyatt and this Giants offense, obviously the upside, you just went up as to why he's there. My concern is Daniel Jones, and I had to go look over his advanced metrics, his average stuff to target and whatnot down the stretch last year when he really started to come on down the stretch. Did he have to throw far downfield, or was he just so used to having all these short to intermediate targets and Saquon out of the backfield, as well as his mobility for fantasy purposes? I don't know. I know that there was the Slayton connection for a while, and Darius Slayton is also basically just a go route or bust. So I'm hoping Hyatt gives everything. I did the video that you were talking about last week, and you were just talking about today, Gator, where he showed off in front of the scout, which that scout was a dick. He had that coming.
Yes, he did. He absolutely had that coming. You don't do that to a dude.
Yeah. He's like, "What's your BMI?" He's like, "Can't you tell?" I mean, Jalen Hyatt, I'm glad he had the last word, hopefully.
Yeah, like a pro.
But yeah, no, so I'm wondering just what the need of this Giants offense will have to be, because they were successful doing it the way that they were doing it last year. Obviously, doesn't hurt get a good vertical target. Doesn't hurt to get something to do all these extra things. I just don't know whether or not the passing volume is going to necessitate relying on a deep threat wide receiver for this Giants offense. But we'll see.
Yeah, especially with Jones only throwing about 16 touchdowns, I think it was after the end of the season there. So I agree. The passing volume is probably not going to be there for Jalen Hyatt to be a weekly start, but they're at the 3-3. I think he could have a good opportunity for some big boom games
Yeah,
Or
and it's
here
like,
at the
like
go
Drew
ahead.
just said right here. I mean, he could be that guy that is a true best ball guy. You know, we
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
we don't know. We don't know what week to start him. We don't know what week to play him. He could be a true best ball guy.
Mhm.
But in this draft, I mean, I would want that boom over the 3 years from now when Hendon Hooker finally plays at 29 years old. I'd want
Right.
that
No, right.
over the Eric Gray, Izzy, Keyshawn Butte fail. You know, those I would. That's just where I'm looking at it. It's like, okay, I'm taking my dart throw right here.
Mhm.
I'm going to try to get this guy, and if he booms, great. If he doesn't, you know, damn it, I just got sniped.
Which
The
one?
Brendan Strange.
No.
God knows. So I don't even know what I'm doing here now. But anyway, so I got a minute to talk about it and think about it. But the boom of Jalen Hyatt in a dynasty, because I mean, if I get him at the 3-3 or 3-5, somewhere in that range, he's going straight to my taxi squad anyway, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm not worried about him his rookie year. I may move him up if all of a sudden, you know, week 4, he sits, you know, 2 or 3 weeks in a row, he's 22 points. Absolutely, I'm moving him up. But again, here's another boom bust guy. I'm going to take Sean Tucker right here because the backfield, again, I'm going to throw him on my taxi squad.
Yep.
The backfield in Tampa is Rashad White. And that's
Right.
who. That's it.
Right.
You know, so if Sean Tucker gets in there, if health is good, he's going to get in there some.
Yep.
And so give me a couple first downs, give me a couple, you know, catches out of the backfield. We saw that happen in Syracuse with him.
Mhm.
He can catch the ball. He's basically him and Rashad White are the same people, and it works out great.
That's where I was about to hammer home next there. Like, we're talking about similar skill sets. Like, if you go back and you visit the Fantasy and Frames YouTube channel, you look at our rookie prospect profiles, you go to Sean Tucker, Bill Mustafa did a really good job of breaking down the film and noticing some trends. One of the trends being for Sean Tucker, he's not exactly somebody who's going to be sacrificing himself, going up the middle, trying to get those tough yards. He's the guy who wants to bounce it to the outside. He's the guy who wants to get the receptions. So, you know, you just said similar skill set is a good thing. I don't know whether it's a good thing. You know, you run the risk of divided targets, divided opportunities. You know, I really do want to go back and look more at Rashad White's, north-south game versus his east-west, zone stretch play game. I want to see how effective he was, how many yards per carry he had at, goal line situations. I want to look at, was it really, him being a receiving option? I mean, I guess Leonard Fournette was there, or the shell of Leonard Fournette was there, I should say. But I want to see how good he was. And to your point, maybe this will be a great tandem if everything checks out health-wise or whatnot. But it's initially speaking, seeing the similar skill sets, I'm a little concerned. But at this point, 4th round upside, you can't pass on that.
I mean, would you rather have him or Deuce Vaughn?
Don't you put me in that corner. I'm a Commanders fan and my wife's a Cowboys fan, and she somehow is able to find any and all video and podcast content that has me praising a Cowboys.
That's fair. That's fair. Would you rather have him or McBride? Would you rather have Sean Tucker or Dwayne McBride? In Minnesota.
Give me Tucker.
All right. Would you rather have Tucker or Eric Gray in New York?
Tucker.
Would you rather have Sean Tucker or would you rather have Izzy Adebanaconda?
Izzy. Give me all the Izzy. I'll take Izzy.
Yeah, Izzy right now is the 3rd running back in New York. Now, granted, could be the 2nd, but would you rather have? Okay, here you go. Sean Tucker or Zach Evans?
Zach Evans.
Okay, and Zach Evans went almost a full round ahead of him. Right. But you took Sean Tucker over a Eric Gray who went 5 picks, 6 picks in front of Sean Tucker.
Right. No.
I think it was good value, and I think like you said, they could be similar skill sets. But as a dart throw in the 4th round, absolutely.
No,
RB13.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well,
I'm curious.
We talked about our group Jorge and I, we got picked on. The only ones we haven't talked about is your 401, which I truly love. But we didn't get to talk about Chris's,
Sure, let's
Zay
go.
Flowers, Tajay
Right.
Spears, Anaconda.
Yeah.
What do you think about those there, Jorge? What do you think about Chris's draft, the first 3 rounds?
So everybody needs to stop thinking that the Baltimore Ravens offensive scheme being what it had been the past few seasons. It's not the same. The offensive coordinator is different. Okay, we got Todd Monken in here. He's more of a passer guy versus I don't even remember his name anymore, which is horrible.
Isn't that Romeo?
Greg Roman.
Greg Roman. That's what it was.
It's Greg Roman. Let's remember Greg Roman's track record. Like with a mobile Alex Smith, with a mobile Colin Kaepernick, to a mobile Lamar Jackson. Okay, so it's not exactly a pure pocket passing guy. Ted Monken is. Okay.
Yeah.
And Ted Monken and the Baltimore Ravens, who I still think are like the luckiest franchise they got this deal done with Lamar Jackson, because they really hedged it all on placing weapons around him, hoping that would help secure some confidence in him wanting to return to this organization. So I love the Zay Flowers pick, to answer your question. I think that's a fantastic. Give me skill players around your franchise quarterback for the next 5 years. Tajay Spears, there's still rumors that Derrick Henry still might get traded. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But somebody on Twitter made a comment regarding Tajay Spears and was like, "Look, I think you can trust him if the Titans doctors can trust him." And it's like, all right, fair point. They're smarter people than I am. They went to medical school to learn how to diagnose if a person is healthy or not to play the sport of football. I feel like they get a little bit more, street cred in that regard. Izzy, I love Izzy. You mentioned he's the third running back behind Michael Carter. Michael Carter is the size of a 6th grader, and I say that respectfully as I can. Izzy is gonna be fine. Brees Hall, you hear all the reports out of Jets camp. Oh, he's looking great. He's looking fantastic. That to me is coach speak, and that is he will be looking great mid-season. The start to season, I think you're going to get a Anaconda going. So yeah, I'm loving. I'm curious as far as the 4th pick here with Darius Davis. What was your thought process here?
Just an athlete. If I'm gonna pick a guy this late in the 4, I want a guy that's he's quick, he's decent size, he's in a good offense. If I'm gonna take a shot based on the other guys that were there, I'm gonna take a shot on a guy that's might have been the number 2 there in TCU. But athletic wise, he's a good athlete. So I'll take my shot with that guy. Plus the Los Angeles Rams receiving core is getting old with Mike Williams there and Keenan Allen there. It's the Del Boca Vista of wide receiver rooms. So I'm going to take the young guy. They got Quentin Johnston. I think Darius Davis, Max Dugan's there, so the whole TCU connection, I kind of love it. So if 410, I'm okay taking a shot there.
We got mediocre money here. Can you, though, referring to my comment about trusting the doctors in Tennessee, look at the injury. You know what, Monty? It's because they didn't have you, my friend. Okay, you should go to Nashville, and get on board with the Titans, my friend. But that is an interesting point there.
He's not that far away, though. He's only in Kentucky. So, he's up near Fort Campbell. So maybe he can slide on down like Tuesday, Thursday of the week.
There you go.
Get 2 days out of the week. And go ahead, mediocre. You can do it. You can do it.
Love it. Gator, what are your thoughts on – let's do some self-assessments here. What are your thoughts on your team?
Well, I don't even know where my team's at right now. I've got so many screens going. It's not good.
You got Najigba, Hyatt, and Tucker.
Listen, I went all upside right here for no other reason than where did they go? Oh, my goodness. This is bad for TV. I lost it. What is it again?
JSN, Michael Mayer, Jalen Hyatt, Sean Tucker.
So I love my JSN pick, of course. I'm all in. And I love the Michael Mayer pick. The last 2 were absolute dart throws. Jalen Hyatt, Sean Tucker, throwing darts. If they hit, they hit. If they don't, it costs me a 3rd and a 4th in a rookie draft. So it doesn't hurt my feelings if they don't hit. No. Right. But I am all but if JSN doesn't hit, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
If Michael Mayer doesn't hit, that's a problem. I'm picking him at what, 20, or is he 12, 13, 15th pick overall, 14th pick overall, that's a problem.
Mhm.
You don't want to miss on your first round. You don't want to miss on your seconds.
Yeah.
Especially in a tight end premium super flex league, you don't want to miss on those guys. That's why you see guys like Will Levis, who falls in the NFL draft, fall in a rookie draft.
As you should.
There's a reason, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you do not want to take dart throws in your second round.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter what your film says. The NFL film says it doesn't work.
Right. No, right, exactly. Going back to my 401 here with Puka Nacua, do you see this Robert Woods jersey with a 17? Now I got to get a new 17 jersey. And does it become Nacua? I don't know. Every report since the Senior Bowl, where Keith Fleming and Joe Matz of the Daily Fix show, our DFS pod here at Fantasy and Frames, they went down and they represented Fantasy and Frames. They were meeting with players. They were meeting with everybody. Yeah, we'll do that, Monty. We'll put it
I only know one Titan fan, and that's Hollywood.
Yeah, I'll put in a word with Hollywood, and he'll, by the time his internet kicks in and he's able to receive my message, he'll be able to do something about that.
Oh, Jesus, God Almighty! Aliens will be here before then.
Yeah, seriously. But everything from the Senior Bowl with Puka Nacua has been straight positive. Just great route runner. He's from all the comparisons you're hearing and all the compliments you're making, they're making him sound like he's the second coming of Robert Woods. Give me that upside in that offense.
Yeah, outside of Cooper Kupp, I mean, the wide receiver room is pretty much wide open. So good opportunity there for Puka Nacua to gain some targets for himself. From the first two rounds, which player do you see drafted in these first two rounds that you think has the best chance to fall outside of the two rounds? And then on the flip of that, which player in the bottom two rounds do you think has the best chance to rise up draft boards come summer camp heading into August? Jay, which one for you has the best chance to fall?
Well, unfortunately for me, somehow. Oh wait, I guess if you go to completed, you can see what the board is.
Okay,
a lot better.
You can't
now.
see the board.
No, now I can see
Okay.
it because I wasn't on completed. I was like, where's it at? I'll tell you what, the one that I could see that a lot of people are getting high on, that I'm actually starting to dive a little bit more into his tape, is Devon Achane.
Yeah, okay.
I could see him slide back, because is he that one trick pony where he's only speed, right? And yes, he's in a Miami backfield that is, I'm not going to say cluttered, but you got Raheem Mostert, you've got Jeff Wilson there, so I mean and then of course you've got Tyreek Hill on one side, you've got Waddle on the other. It's just, I just don't know about Devon Achane or Devan Achane or however the heck he says his first name, but it's a chain. With his skill set, he's not he's not going to bust it through the middle. He's like 5'8", 190, 195, somewhere in that range. I don't know that I want any piece of him unless I can get him in the mid third round.
Yeah.
I'm just too scared right now. But it's the same thought process that I have with Bryce Young too. So it's the size absolutely scares the hell out of me with these guys.
Yeah, and speed can be schemed against. We've seen it multiple times in the NFL where you have these guys that all they are is speed, and they just don't succeed in the NFL. So I can definitely see a spot where Devon Achane drops back. Now, in the bottom two rounds, who do you think has the best opportunity to maybe jump up to the back end, second, mid-second, early second, maybe even late first?
I truly think this was an obvious answer, and I'm going to leave Puka Nacua, off of this list just for the simple fact is how much I love him. Mm-hmm. But I think it's Keyshawn Boutte. And I'm not, how does it say? How do we say it here on Mocking After Dark?
It ain't your beauty.
It's your booty. I think he has the opportunity in New England, if he can get his head screwed on straight.
Yeah.
To be a true good wide receiver, right? I think there was a lot of issues at LSU between him, the coach, wanting to go to school, not wanting to go to school, whatever the issue was. If he can put his head on straight get up there with Mac Jones, get up there and learn the offense.
Mm-hmm.
He can move from that late third to, if not early third, late second.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. Jorge, same question for you.
Okay.
In the top two, who do you think has the best shot at falling back? And then in the bottom two rounds, who has the best shot of moving up?
Man, this is a great question. For me, I'm going to say Sam Laporta will probably drop out of the top two. He went to a 6 overall to Monty, just because the emphasis at running back with the signing of Montgomery, the drafting of Gibbs. You have Jameson Williams, who is still he is suspended for, I believe it's 6 games, but he'll be back. They bring back Marvin Jones, which I think is an underrated signing that people just haven't been talking about much yet, just because he's an older wide receiver.
Yep.
And I get it. I get the Laporta upside. I get the fact that he's the Hawkinson replacement. Let's dispel some things. I know people are going to tell me, well, Hawkinson was a top 10 tight end. I'm like, well, I don't give a crap if that means that he was averaging 7.6 points per game. That still sucks.
Yeah, it's kicker numbers.
That's not a compliment. He's a tight end 7. I'd say F you if you called me the tight end 7. All right. Going back to the emphasis of the running game.
Yep.
I just feel like this is going to be a situation where he's going to be held in to block a little bit more than he is going to be held in, rather allowed to go out there and perform in the receiving department. As far as somebody who I think could jump in, it's going to go back to one of your guys, Banacanda. I just feel Breece Hall is not going to be ready week 1. This guy is an athletic freak. Bill Mustafa, again, did a rookie profile on our YouTube channel. If you haven't already, go to our YouTube channel or go to fantasyframes.com. Check out the rookie prospect profile on Israel Banacanda. Bill Mustafa, great job talking about him. Listen to all our previous podcasts on Dynasty 365 where he talked about him. He made the comparison of a Banacanda to DK Metcalf. And you may be asking yourself, why? He's a wide receiver. Banacanda is a running back. DK Metcalf, when he came out of college, out of Ole Miss, was basically termed an athletic freak who just happens to play wide receiver. Okay? Well, DK Metcalf is an athletic freak, but is a really effing good wide receiver.
Yeah.
Banacanda is an athletic freak who is also a really effing good running back. And so now you give the upgrade at quarterback with Aaron Rodgers, which, yes, I think that is an upgrade. I don't think he's over the hill. You look at how well this offense should be performing now that you have that elevation at the quarterback position, the receiving options they have there. A defense that can keep them in games. The volume, the time of possession is going to be on the Jet side, which is something I never thought I'd say. And it just leads to Izzy being somebody who's going to be the primary beneficiary of that, at least to start the season. And then depending on how things go, they may ride the hot hand and keep going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that scares me right now with the Jets backfield is, with Aaron Rodgers, he's going to lock on to somebody, and we all think that that's probably going to be Garrett Wilson as far as a receiver. It could very well be Lazard, somebody he's comfortable with.
Maybe Randall Cobb.
But when it comes to the backfield,
Corey Davis, baby.
If Breece Hall is not ready to go, I would imagine they would first start off with Michael Carter, but then the very next person that's going to be up is going to be Zonovan Knight.
Yeah,
he showed last year that he could produce. That's what scares me with Izzy, and I think that's also something that to keep an eye on, because now let's be fair, injuries are going to happen.
Sure, we
all hope they don't. But injuries are going to happen, and, of course, the running back position is the most vulnerable. My question is, and now this is real football compared to fantasy, are the Jets smart to go with 4? If, let's say, Breece Hall is not injured, but let's say, are they going to go with 4 running backs and then hold that way they don't have to put Izzy on a potential for somebody else to pick him up, like Kansas City's done in the past?
Yeah. I could definitely see that situation playing out like that. There might even be a situation where Breece starts the season on the pup. he might miss the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks, if that's the case, if he's not ready to go, and they feel like they have a backfield that could sustain quality production before Brees comes back. Could also see a situation where Brees and Izzy are that AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones combo.
Stop
for them.
it.
No, you say stop it, but let's think about
No,
this.
that's a fact.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Nathaniel Hackett there, he's there. He's
Mhm.
We go back to the last time he was coaching with Aaron Rodgers before he went off to Denver. I mean, he, and LaFleur basically decided, hey, let's lean on two of our best players we have here on this offense, and AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones down the stretch. Let's preserve our quarterback here. Let's help make our quarterback more efficient with fewer throws, yet more quality throws. They'd be stupid not to do this with the Jets here.
Yep. Agreed.
And let's face it, you're going against a fast, high-powered Dolphins team. You're going against a high-powered Buffalo Bills team. Patriots, but the Patriots
battery powered.
Yeah, not even Energizer Bunny, like Dollar Store General battery brand. Yeah. But you know what? The Patriots, they always find a way to stay competitive in games somehow, some way.
Coaching.
We'll call it the intangibles, okay? Because we don't have any numbers to put behind it. So the Jets are in a position here where they need to, at least with 2 out of the 4 teams in the division, need to be able to stay in these games, need to be able to take control of the division. And that's honestly, it's going to come down to keeping these other teams off the field offensively, which is why I think they're going to lean more on the 1-2 punch at the running game, which is why I get it. Zonovan Knight balled out last year. We can't just discount that. I'm not as sold on Michael Carter. My earlier jab at his height notwithstanding, I just feel just the talent around him is just better at being able to handle the workload versus him being more of a receiving back. So for me now, that takes Carter out of the equation, Gator. And so now it's Knight and Abanikanda. And I think that's the training camp matchup that is going to be really exciting to watch in New York to see which one actually is the one that comes out of this two. Because you said it, Chris, very realistic that Brees Hall's on the PUP to start the year. The more you hear good things from the coaches, oh yeah, he's looking good, and that to me, I hear that. I think the opposite.
Yep.
So yeah, the Zonovan Knight Abanikanda battle should be a really fun one to watch in New York.
Yeah, and to add on to what you were just saying there, you brought up who the Jets' opponents were in the AFC East, but they are also playing the NFC East with Washington, the Giants, Cowboys, and the Eagles. They also have Denver, the Raiders, the Texans, the Chargers, and the Falcons on their schedule this year. So they're gonna need depth at running back as well. So yeah, I agree with you. That training camp training camp matchup between Izzy and Zonovan Knight is going to be a phenomenal thing to keep an eye on. Yeah,
it's gonna be a fun summer watching all the training camps across the NFL. I cannot wait for it. Pivoting to IDP, Jorge. We at the Fantasy and Frames family, we love the IDP, the defensive player for fantasy. In these rookie drafts, where do you start considering? Of course, there's a lot of other intangible and other like roster builds and league settings that go along with when you want to take some of these guys. But when do you start targeting elite IDP rookies in these rookie drafts?
So to say that there is no shortage of drama in the Twitterverse when it comes to the IDP community is saying something. Needless to say, scoring settings matter everything. Always know your scoring settings. We say that about every single league we're in, whether it's offense,
defensive,
defense, whatever it is. And there's a bunch of us out there who've tried our best to create our own scoring settings. Some have been successful at getting them being promoted elsewhere. I know Jordan Rains, he's gotten IDP 1, 2, 3 to be the default over at Sleeper. Congrats to him. There are other platforms like ESPN. They have their own baseline IDP scoring settings, and Fantasy Pros has their. Hell, we came up with one. But, the more I kept thinking about this, over the past few days, I started to think more about the fact that there isn't a definitive IDP scoring setting And the chances are there's never going to be, just because there's so many opinions out there. Getting a uniform consensus is just not going to be the case. So then it comes down to, how can we as content creators here at Fantasy and Frames who cover IDP, how can we help out the viewer or the viewers or the listeners or the readers in helping manage their fantasy teams? Gary Davenport, friend of the show, godfather of IDP, he made a comment the other day. There are 3 different types of IDP scoring. There's tackle heavy, there's balance scoring, and then there's big play scoring. And to find out more about each of those, stay tuned to our YouTube shorts coming out later on during the week, where I'll be coming out that information, telling you all you need to know. Gator, Zach here will be helping to create graphic content. We'll be putting on Twitter as well as on our Instagram account. So check that out and follow us there as well. Regardless of the scoring format, to get back to your question, defensive lineman / edge positions in fantasy football and IDP are scarce.
Mm-hmm.
You take a tackle heavy where sacks aren't counted for as many points as you would hope them to be. You're decreasing the amount of usable weekly, week in, week out defensive linemen that are available for you to draft. Okay.
Yep.
Rookie draft, startup draft, redraft, drafts, whatever they are. Big play, whether it's a big play where the sacks are given more value. Okay. Well, then still there are fewer players that can do that consistently. Finding defensive linemen that consistently give you those sack numbers is hard to do, no matter what scoring setting or strategy you have. So for me, at the 101, I'm taking a defensive lineman edge, because I know I can find a linebacker who may not be heralded as the LB1 of the class, like a Jack Campbell, but I know I could find somebody later in a rookie draft, or somebody later in a startup draft, or in a redraft draft. There has to be a better term than that. I got to figure what that is.
Well, hang on, because you said at the 101. Now, I think the way the question is combined. So if it's offensive, defensive, so where are you comfortable starting to take? Right. So you're not taking anybody 101 over what we currently have offensively. If it's a combined, offensive defense, correct.
Okay. So where I'm taking that person, obviously it depends on how many rounds. Let's just say, what did we have for our
6?
Dynasty
We had
league?
6 for ours.
And third or fourth.
301. 301 is where he went. 301. That's where this guy took the first IDP guy. Yes, I did.
Anderson.
Yes, you did. You took Drew Anderson. Is that right?
I took Will Anderson.
Will Anderson.
Will Anderson. Okay. Yeah. So definitely, I would. That is exactly probably the area I would take a defensive lineman in the 3rd round, or a IDP at that point in a rookie draft, 6th round rookie draft, offense defense combined. And I would hammer home that position. I want to get as much upside in a rookie defensive lineman as I can, because I know, like I said, whether it's in the startup, whether it's in other drafts, whether it's via trade, I can find an LB2 or an LB3 in fantasy points per game scoring, and they could have easily a LB1 or LB2 finish for the week. It is not the same for a defensive lineman. These are players that you really have to hammer home. Especially if you're fortunate enough to play in a league whose settings really bump up the value of a sack or a quarterback hit or a tackle for a loss. So definitely something to pay attention to with that. But I think the 3rd round of a combined offense and defense rookie draft,
sweet spot.
Go get your guy.
Yeah. And IDP only, you want that edge 101. You want that elite edge.
Speaking of IDP only, Jorge and I were talking before the show. We could very well be doing a Mocking After Dark,
nice
IDP only show.
Love it.
Very, very, very soon.
And not just one, but I'll name drop here. We had Master IDP join us on.
Already confirmed he would jump in. Yep.
He'll jump in. Talk to the godfather of IDP. As soon as he's on the mend, he'll jump in with us. So, of course, we'll get our own Nate Markham in here, Hollywood Titan, as well as all the favorite IDP analysts that you love out there getting content from. So we're going to be doing a lot more of those, covering everything here. We cover everything: best ball, IDP, Dynasty, redraft, you name it. We got gambling on the way, which
yes,
you all didn't know that was coming. We're going to be doing some money line stuff here at Fantasy and Frames.
By the way, we did have a trifecta in our group. took over. I say take over. A trifecta got bet in our group. I think it was a trifecta. Wasn't a trifecta for the Kentucky Derby? Is that what Alan did? Or did he just take the horse straight up the win?
I think he took the horse straight to win.
Well, it's still a W. It's a W right there. So,
so a lot of great stuff here at Fantasy and Frames coming your way. And Gator, you just messaged me here, and I'll just want to put this out here. Starting the day before we had our Best Ball Mania 4 draft with Stacy and Stephanie, which if you haven't watched on YouTube, if we didn't catch it live, go to YouTube, watch it, learn how they're drafting, learn the thought process, and go get you, maybe a couple $1 million here and there. Before that draft, we had on our YouTube channel 385 subscribers. We are now 5 away from 400.
Ooh, let's go!
Thank you very much.
Yeah, when I woke up this morning, we were at 376. So I mean, we've gained 376 to 395 in a day. That's props to everybody at Fantasy and Frames for putting out the content that they put out, because you don't gain subscribers by putting out BS.
Yep.
Good evening to you, Mr. Scampers. Thank you very much for joining. Yeah, definitely go back and check out the beginning of the show. Drop your comments in the comments section on YouTube. Let us know what you think, what you like, what you didn't like. And we'll be happy to talk about that with you, and as well as anybody else listening and wanting to go back and watching the show after we're done today.
Yeah, don't forget to hit that like for us tonight.
Yeah, if we can get to 400 subscribers, folks, that would be something. So we'll get there. But if everybody who's helped us get there along the way, we thank you very, very much.
Absolutely. Chris, wrap it up tonight, baby. We've gone long enough, I think.
There you go. Another edition of Mocking After Dark with the Fantasy and Frames crew. Another Superflex mock draft in the books. Another mock draft where Bijan Robinson goes 101. Jorge, it was a pleasure to share the camera with you, chop it up on the mic. I love talking football, and especially I love talking football with people that love talking football, because my wife just doesn't love talking football. And sometimes I think she tunes me out. But let them know where they can find you, man.
You can find me at Jorge B. Edwards on Twitter. Much rather you follow at Fantasy and Frames so you can get Chris's content, Gator's production content, everyone's content at Fantasy and Frames on Twitter.
Yes, sir. And Gator, my man, my favorite producer. No offense, Jorge.
Not a problem.
My favorite producer, Gator J. Gator, let him know what you got going on.
Man, you can find me at FantasyJ77 on Twitter. And listen, I'm in the background a lot. I get on here and do this, and it's fun. Get a little escape from the back. Get to chop it up with you. I get to talk to you on Tuesdays or Wednesdays whenever we do Fourth and Frames, good bit. But getting on here, doing a mock draft, just actually getting to be able to chop it up a little bit is absolutely fun. And then when we get Jorge, the big boss, on, we got to give him hell.
Oh, he had a good draft. He had a good draft, right?
And then he goes and drafts like a normal person tonight. And it's just like, how are we supposed to give you hell? But no, it's always fun. I know this coming Tuesday, so basically 2 days from now, we are going to be doing a Mocking After Dark. And our boy from Dynasty Nerds is going to join us, Jason Snyder. He's going to join us on Mocking After Dark. Not quite sure exactly what time that's going to happen yet, but it's in the works. He's already going to be in, so it's going to be anywhere from 9 to 10, somewhere in that range, maybe 10:30, depending on scheduling. But yeah, that's going to be a fun episode doing Mocking After Dark with Jason Snyder on Tuesday.
And don't forget, folks, to go back to listen to the last episode of Fourth and Frames on the Fantasy and Frames podcast, where they had Jason Snyder from Dynasty Nerds join them. Fantastic episode by Chris, Drew, and Rhett. Definitely go check that out.
Yeah, enjoy chopping it up with Jason. Like Gator said, Tuesday, another episode of Mocking After Dark. We don't have a set time yet, but make sure you are subscribing to the channel and you're clicking that bell to get notified when we do come on, as well as following us across Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, wherever you take in your fantasy football content. We are there. I'm Chris Battisdale. You can find me at FFCrispy on Twitter. And that's it for us tonight.